Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. I thought I'd have a go at this. This is Rhyncolaelia glauca. Used to be Brassivola. No, don't ask. Well, that's what it is now. Unless it's changed again, of course, because I have taken a break. Quite honestly, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but I have parts of the plant that are growing nicely. Those parts of the plant I definitely want to do something with. The older part of the plant I might just lose and just effectively start again. This was tied on with horrible string and it looks awful, but you know, I've had this plant a really long time, and that would have been prior to me getting gifted with the fishing line. Now this is either going to be torn off or it's going to fall off. I think it's going to be torn off. And most of the roots are gone anyway. Yeah, that has badly broken down. That's hopefully what most of its problem is. Oh, I'm going to lose a lot of those roots around the back of the mount. So be it. It's got to come off. And sacrificing a few roots is just part of the deal, I'm afraid. That is the downside of mounted orchids. At some point you're probably going to end up having to take them off, and you will lose some of your root system. That's just how it goes. Oh, I need to get the string out. The roots have attached to it. Oh, got it. Well, that's most of it anyway. Right, now we definitely have completely broken down smelly moss, and I'm hoping that that is, yeah, see, I used to put in the lumps of the coconut husk, completely gone. I don't do that anymore, so I don't expect to find anything remotely living in them. Look, great big lumps of the stuff, you silly person. Would have lasted longer if I decided it needed some lumps to have used the orchiata bark, but if I mount something nowadays I rely on the moss to allow it to establish, and then it attaches to the bark and it's down to me to hydrate it as I go along. I don't know how much of this plant is. I think what I'm probably going to do is split the oldest part of the plant off, this cluster here, and I think I'll probably put that in a pot and try and rejuvenate some roots underneath that section, if it's worth it. But that's the bit I want to get out. Okay, first job really. Some of these roots are actually okay. They've just got algae on them, which makes them look dead. This is a root tip there. I think what I'm going to do is give this a good run under the tap and cut off everything that's obviously dead. This lot, yeah? I mean, this is obviously dead. Get rid of that and see what I've got left and see how many plants there are here. And we'll see. I'll be back when I've had a sort of clean up, because I can't work with it as it is. I can't see what I'm doing, so I'll give it a clean up first. Right, that was hard work. As you can see, there's not much left. As far as the nasty is concerned, inconclusive. I don't know if that will focus. So there is some slight colouring, but nothing like I would expect if it was an infected plant. And I'll add to this, which is why I think the plant's okay. In amongst the base of this plant, where are we? There we are. In amongst the base of this plant was some black rot. Now what's happened is, because that media, that moss and that coconut fibre had completely degenerated, it was obviously holding moisture far, far, far too long, and it's allowed some rot to set in. This part of the plant is the oldest part. It's got a couple of viable eyes. It's got next to no roots. I'm just going to throw it in a pot and see what it does. But you can see, you know, this has all been cleaned up with hydrogen peroxide, but you can see the black around the base. And I think that's done more damage than anything else, quite honestly. This is the best viable part of the plant that's left. It's got two good eyes on it and, you know, viable roots. So that, in fact, it's got a third eye back here. So in theory, there's 3 new growths to come on that. And I think that part can go back on the mount, which is currently being sterilised. And this was just a part that I don't see any viable eyes on it. That one might be. But as I said, that black rot had got at most of the new eyes and just taken them off. So I think this was better sooner than later. But because these are viable roots on this little part, and that may be a viable eye, I'm actually going to put that on the mount with that bit, pointing in the opposite direction, so that it can grow off in 2 directions. And as I said, that bit I'm just going to throw in a pot and see what it does. It may not make it. But there's more of the plant been discarded because of the rot that was setting into the rhizome, the base of the roots, the base of the pseudobulbs. It wasn't worth keeping. But I'm going to see if that will grow. So I'm just literally going to throw it in a pot and see what it does. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll get my stuff ready and everything. As I say, I haven't finished cleaning up the old mount. It's going back on the same mount because that will have been completely sterilised. And if the plant's got the dreaded F word, if there's some left on the mount, it's not really a big deal, is it? Everything has been sprayed with hydrogen peroxide. The mount was left to soak in that, absolutely dripping in the stuff for quite a long time, and then boiling water poured all over it. Now I'm going to scrub it with my toothbrush, because there's still a few old roots attached, and get it clean of any debris that's got in the little cracks. Then it's going to get another rinse with boiling water again, and then it'll be ready to use. So I'll be back when I've got all my stuff ready. Okay, bit unusual. I thought I'd go and have a quick look round on the internet and see if I can find pictures of this growing out in the wild, in nature. There are a few, and guess what? This is a very highlight plant. How can it be a forest dweller and a highlight plant? It's because it grows right up near the tops of the trees. What don't you get at the tops of the trees on all the branches? Moss and ferns and stuff for the roots to get into. Most of the pictures I can find show this growing bare root, just attached to bark. So that's what I'm going to do. No moss, 0. It's just going to get strapped onto that bark and left to its own devices. Now that would have been a mistake on my part when I first got it, but it grew well for a while. This piece over here, I'm really not sure I'm going to bother with. I've scoured it, the whole part. There is no viable eye anywhere on that piece. And the rhizome is not good, and it's black, and the base of the pseudobulbs are black. I don't think it's worth the effort. I really don't. Because the problem is, to get that to root, the logical conclusion is to put it in a pot in some media. This plant doesn't like that. So what I'm going to do is actually just leave it on the shelf in the grow room and see if any roots shoot out. So again, bare rooted, and every now and again I'll just dunk it in some water or something if I see the bulbs desiccating. But any of the rot or anything that's in there, hopefully the hydrogen peroxide should have sorted out its ability to grow. We'll see. Anyway, I'm just going to strap this onto the mount. No moss. I don't think I've ever done that before, but we're doing it now, and I think as a consequence I might have to go round a few times just to make sure it's secure. And if this bit isn't long enough, we'll have to get some more. But yeah, bare rooted mount. And that's how it looks like it grows as a consequence of requiring very high light and being right at the top of the tree. As I say, when you get down in the steamy jungle bit of the trees are all covered in moss and ferns and dead leaves and stuff, and there's things for the roots to get into. And that's obviously what an awful lot of epiphytes like. But this one appears to just like being on bare bark. There's a couple of oh, come on, brain. No, it's gone. I'll think of it in a minute. Myelicei, critata, that lot. Okay, it's gone. Too early in the day. But there are some of, I'll put a pop-up if it doesn't come to me during the video. Some of those will only grow on bare bark. So it's not uncommon, but less common than the norm, which is to grow in things on trees, not just on the tree. Oh God, I haven't got enough hands here, have I? I'm trying not to break the root tips. I just need to get that round there. It's going to have to go round the pseudobulbs, which I wouldn't normally do. I'd just strap the roots, but I've got no choice. I don't want this to cut into those new roots under any shape or form. I just want to hold the plant. As I said, I may well have to go round a few times to achieve that. Right, I'm going to go around that one. I'll try and do this so as you can see, but quite honestly the plant's more important than you seeing it. Isn't that rude? Don't care. I don't want to lose this plant, obviously, and this strapping process needs to be good. The plant needs to feel reasonably secure, and not all loose and floppy. Now that bit's moved already. We need to go there. Right. No, above that root, otherwise it will cut. I'm going to go around the base of that pseudobulb, and then I'm going to go around the base of the whole plant and try and get underneath those two roots so that I don't chop them. How are we doing? That's it. That's good enough. It's good enough to hold it until those roots get a hold. And I already know from experience with this plant, boy do those roots attach. You know, they really do anchor on. You should have seen me trying to get the old ones off. Actually, I'm just going to go round once more, because when I stand this upright it leans forward, which makes it slightly floppy. So I'm just going to go round once more and secure that older bulb. That's if this will allow me to do it how I want. There we go. There's a nice notch on that bit of bark that I want to grab hold of. And then actually I'm going to hold that root in place. Unlike me to tie a root, but I'm going to. So that's it. Far too much there. You can go on the floor. A word of warning about fishing line, especially if you've got pets like what I have. Cats like to play with stuff. And like very young children, when they're playing with stuff, it often goes in their mouth. And the last thing you want is a length of fishing line down your cat's throat. So don't leave your offcuts lying around. Oh, pussycat's choking. Mind you, the lazy lump would have to get up off its backside out sunning itself in the sunshine to even bother playing at the moment, lazy lump. And just pulling those in tighter by strapping them like that. Have I got a label? Has the label got a hole in? No. Oh. Yeah, do it now, go on. Hole through that, right through the kitchen worktop, and the fact that it's now got a hole, we don't need all of that, so we can just round that off and make it look a bit neater and give it a wash. Don't like dirty labels. That's when you find out how good your marker pen is when you run your label under the tap. And it still comes out like that. Wet hands. Right, I just strap that on somehow. Probably in there. By threading the label in between some bits, it sort of doesn't flop around quite so much. And then just tie that on so it doesn't run away. I don't think I'll forget what this plant is, but nonetheless. There we go, that's it. One bare rooted mount. Unusual, but that's how it likes to grow from the pictures I can see. Okay, I've got new roots in there, including one broken one. Never mind, that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 not broken, and maybe that will branch. Some of these, they're viable, but their ends have gone. That bit's not. Whoops, wrong scissors. That bit's not viable. That's soggy. And any of those that die back, it's just fair enough. So most of the new roots are at the back there, so they can come straight down here and attach immediately. A couple of aerial ones and some aerial ones here. This one I've strapped, so hopefully that one will now attach. That's actually part of this bit. And these round here can do whatever they like. So that's it. Hopefully that will now rejuvenate. Got nice eyes on the outside of the plant. Not so sure about this bit, but hopefully something will grow. We'll see how it goes. So, as I said, I'm really not sure that's worth bothering with, quite honestly. Nope, not worth it. It's got that black rot on. Not worth the hassle. So that is it now. It's been watered because I've washed the plant thoroughly. So I'll now let that dry off a bit. These are classed as drought tolerant. Don't make the mistake of thinking that means it doesn't need water. Yes, it does. It just means that it can go longer without water if and when it has to. I remember Brad filmed, he was on his holidays or on his travels, and he filmed one of these on a post, not on a tree. It was on like a post, I don't know, it's holding up some wires or something like that, and it was about 20 foot up, and it went round the whole post. It was a massive plant, covered in blooms, and that was a bare post. Absolutely nothing apart from that post to grab hold of. And he said that in that area they hadn't had rain for about 30 days, and that plant was in full sun for at least half of the day, and it was in bloom. So you can see the sort of environment this thing likes to be in. The highest of lights and bare root. So thanks for watching, and we'll see how this one goes. Updates will follow, of course. Now I've got to put all these little clips and bits and pieces into a couple of videos, probably for tomorrow. I'll see how I go. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.